Good evening, and welcome to our 2019 Middle Creek High School Career Academy graduation ceremony. For those of you who do not know me, I am Christina Council, and I have the honor and privilege to serve as the Academy Coordinator for the last 3 months. Tonight we celebrate and recognize the outstanding accomplishments of both the Digital Media Academy and the Engineering and Design Academy class of 2019. Please stand for the processional and remain standing for the national anthem. Please remain standing for the national anthem. Before I begin, I'd like to recognize a few individuals who made this event possible. First, our amazing teaching staff. Would all of the Academy teachers, past and present, please rise to be recognized? Thank you for your tireless hours and endless dedication to these students. Next, our administration. Thank you for supporting these students and being a part of the intricate planning and logistics that go into providing this amazing opportunity. Now, our advisory boards. Would you please rise? This amazing group of professionals have volunteered countless hours to help plan events like this one, organize fundraisers, and provide valuable contacts in the industry to make our student experiences as beneficial as possible. Thank you so much for your service to our students and to our program. Thank you also to the volunteers that have helped make this night special. To Dinner Savvy and Chick-fil-A for donating delicious food items, which we will all be enjoying shortly. To parents, advisory board members, and students who volunteered to bring food, set up, and record this event. Thank you also to the dedicated professionals at the CTE Central Services for Wake County Public Schools. I specifically want to recognize our CTE Director, Ms. Joanne Honeycutt, our CTE Senior Administrator, Mr. Phil Weiss, and our School to Career Coordinator, Ms. Joy Frankoff, who is here today to show her support for our remarkable students. Finally, parents, friends, neighbors, and families of our graduates, thank you for the support you give these students daily. Thank you for driving your kid to school at 5 o'clock in the morning to catch the bus leaving for Skills USA. Thank you for trusting us with your child for 7 hours each day, or in some cases 12, when they're working on a project late, or participating in sports block, or finishing up that last certification exam. I cannot thank you enough for your continued support. Together we have made something truly awesome, a group of students that makes me confident in our future as a community. Class of 2019. I don't know where to begin with you guys. As a group, you are some of the most talented, dedicated, genuinely amazing people I've ever met. I feel so honored and privileged to be a part of your journey in life, and I cannot express how much I will miss seeing your faces in the hallways next year. Since I was first introduced to the Middle Creek Academies, I have been convinced that they are the best thing in education. The sense of community and family you bring to the Academies is something I've never experienced elsewhere in my 10 years as an educator. We have been through so much together. We have shared more laughter in the last 4 years than I would have ever thought possible. Most of that laughter echoing down the 3200 hallway from Mr. Petty's room. We have been there for each other through the hard times too, when the load of all the AP classes was just a little too much, or when one of our own was only a few points away from winning a state championship or national medal, and even when we've lost our loved ones. Your support for each other shows an incredible sense of maturity and character that makes me very proud to be part of your lives. I hope that you never forget the amazing experiences you've had together for the last 4 years. I hope that you never forget to appreciate these opportunities that were provided to you, and that you look towards the future with hope and excitement, knowing that you have dedicated yourselves to your academics and you put in the extra effort to set yourself up for success. Tonight, as we celebrate your accomplishments and we look towards the future, let's take a moment and look back.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos of memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
I am so incredibly proud of each and every one of you. You always, always have a home here at Middle Creek. Now I'd like to welcome to the stage a very special guest who felt so passionately about this group of students that she drove hours to be here to celebrate with us tonight. Please welcome Mrs. Karen Ingram, our former Academy Coordinator, who we so lovingly crowned as the Queen of the Academies.
Thank you. I'm so excited about being here tonight. It gives me great honor, and it is certainly a privilege to say a few words to such an outstanding group of Academy students. I'd like to first commend many of you on taking the initiative to secure some very powerful internships. I'm so glad I was afforded the opportunity to listen to your presentations as a result of these immersion experiences. Your maturity and determination made this one of the easiest years that I've experienced in working with the internship piece of your Academy journey. For me, you all have made this event historical by being the first group to endure our grueling interview process. Some of you were so serious about getting in that you submitted video footage of your work. You really took this Academy thing seriously. As a result of your hard work as freshmen, you did it. You made the cut, and 4 years later, here we are. You actually got past the interrogation of the Middle Creek CTE team of superheroes, with Eric Shetty, better known as Captain America, Louis Maldonado, also known as Iron Man, Wes Petty, better known as Thor, and yours truly, also known as the Black Widow. We were later joined by a DC character named Christina Council, also known as Wonder Woman, and Jonathan Green, better known as Batman. And last but not least, our newest team member from Marvel, Catherine Patterson, better known as Rogue. We would also like to recognize the powerful support of core Academy teachers. From the fantastic English department, we have Ms. Anna Silva and Mr. P.J. Williams, as well as our awesome science department, Ms. Jennifer Kubaki, Ms. Sarah Morey, and Mr. Andrew McQuiston, all led by our fearless leader, Mr. Martin, also known as Professor Xavier. Needless to say, Academy Class of 2019 is quite a cut above the rest. To be led by such a phenomenal team of superheroes, I am extremely proud of all of you, and I extend my most sincere congratulations to all of you, Engineering and Design and Digital Media Academy students. Congratulations and thank you.
Council said I had to make sure I turned the right pages. Graduates, tonight, when you might find yourself envisioning your future and wondering where your path might lead next, it's important to take time to reflect. The Digital Media Academy class of 2019 was the first cohort to enter the Academy as freshmen. Previously, the Academy was a 3-year program, starting with sophomore year. Because that was the first year, the Academy had welcomed freshmen into the program, there were still some things we hadn't yet ironed out. Take, for instance, the technology class paired with our English class that year, Microsoft. In that crucible of learning, you were taught otherwise unknowable skills such as how to change the font from Calibri to Times New Roman, how to change the margins of a document from 1.25 inches to 1 inch, and how to solve the mystery of hanging indents. Not to mention how to apply a theme to a PowerPoint presentation and how to incorporate slide animations such as the fade in and out, the fly in from the right, and everyone's favorite, the rotating 3D cube. I believe the famous Canadian, Aubrey Drake Graham, put it best when he said, "Started from the bottom, now we're here." Yes, Drake's real name is Aubrey. As I stand before you tonight, I remember fondly that freshman year I spent with you as your English teacher. I can clearly see your timid yet eager faces, some of them drastically different from the faces I see tonight, some of them somehow exactly the same. Together we learned not to trust anything Odysseus says, argued who was most to blame for the deaths of Romeo and Juliet, and analyzed the ways Martin Luther King laid out his metaphors when he told the world of his dream, and examined which of those metaphors have been realized and which have not yet come to life. Since that time, you have grown immensely as students and as people, and the Digital Media Academy has grown with you. You played no small part in that. We quickly realized, because of you, that the Academy was not prepared for such a group of self-starting, motivated, and strong-willed students who truly wanted to excel. You have helped us make this place more prepared for people like you. And I'm grateful to have such a group of students set a positive and noble example for the younger Academy classes. There will only ever be one class of 2019, my first group of freshmen and those of you who joined us since that year. But you have made it possible for the following classes to succeed at higher levels and have inspired us as teachers to be better versions of ourselves. Seeing you here tonight, thinking of the people you've become, I can't help but think of the words of Atticus Finch, whose story we read when you were freshmen. He said, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb into his skin and walk around in it." When I hear these words about empathy, about making it a habit to approach any situation from a perspective of compassion, I'm reminded of you. Your senior projects were centered on injecting love and positivity in the world, on helping others better themselves and their environment, on making a healthier, and more inclusive world for generations to come. You took it upon yourselves to set before you a challenge that required not only digital media skills or the ability to collaborate, but also your kindness, your love, your humanity, your hearts. These are endeavors of empathy, of compassion. They are endeavors built on hope. My charge to you is to let this same sense of empathy and compassion guide the next turn of your path, to take that same hope with you into the next bend. The world is shrinking, and with it, our need for compassion grows larger. Our need for hope has never been more obvious. When I see you before me, I am filled with that same hope which you have given me, that what we're doing here can make a difference, that our world will be in capable hands, and most of all, that at any given time, a teacher can be so humbled and inspired by his students that he learns more about himself and the world than his students will ever know. I thank you for the opportunity to call you my students over these last 4 years, but I feel an even deeper sense of gratitude for having had the privilege of knowing such outstanding people. I love you, good luck to you, and may your path always be paved with hope.
My name is Mr. Petty. I'm a teacher in the Digital Media Academy, and it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you tonight's Digital Media Academy student speaker. Before doing so, I want to take a moment and pause and reiterate some of the words tonight and just say thank you. The memories shared, the time, the adventures spent together have been truly amazing and influential in my life. Now, I've always gotten to know the Digital Media Academy students really well, but with this particular group, I've gotten to know the engineering students as well also. Through Sports Block or Skills USA or extracurriculars, the memories built with both academies from this group are something I will truly cherish. It has been a very fun ride, and I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to let me share that with you guys. Now, for our student speaker. I met this young man when he was a wide-eyed 8th grader. He and his family came to the open house just outside these doors, and his mom stopped and introduced him to me. She said he had a cousin that had taken digital media and recommended it and thought it might be a fun class. Shortly thereafter, he entered my classroom as a sophomore, and we quickly hit it off because we both had a fond love for the Wolfpack, and we got to know each other very well through the years. Now, this young man wore many hats while in the academy, whether it be working on projects, to extracurriculars, to kind of helping out here and there, to even serving as a lead actor in the Junior Academy project. What stands out the most about this young man, though, has nothing to do with any project we ever did, but it's about his character. This man has always been a very respectful young man, kind young man, and caring young man. Very respectful to all of his teachers. No matter what task I asked of him, whether how difficult it was never I can't, I won't, or a no. It was always a yes, and it was always a yes, sir. Equally kind to all of his teachers and all of his peers. Always the first one to help a fellow student in need. And this man has such a passion for life. I don't think I've ever seen a day where he wasn't smiling. And he's got a smile that can light up the room. We had many conversations that I'll miss through the years, whether it be about school or about sports or just about life. But I know when he leaves here, he leaves prepared for the world, and he's going to go out and accomplish many, many great things. It was my honor to put on his football jersey and walk out on that football field with he and his family to represent him on senior night. And it is my honor and privilege to be able to introduce him tonight. If I could please get all of the Digital Media Academy students to stand up for me for a minute. If we could one last time all rise as we bring to the stand the Honorable Mr. Hunter Holmes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Petty. I really appreciate that. Good evening, everyone. My name is Hunter Holmes. I'm in the Digital Media Academy, and I have been since freshman year. I would just like to share with you a little glimpse of my time here in the Academy. When I was in 8th grade, like Mr. Petty said, I went to the Middle Creek Open House with my parents, and coming from a different middle school than most people that fed into Middle Creek, I was extremely nervous. I didn't know what to expect. I just wanted to, play it cool, play it under the radar. It was before we got into the auditorium that my plan to play it cool was apparently not my mom's plan. She was encouraging me to go to every single club desk that was there, and I was thinking how weird that might look. Mom got especially excited at the table with the basketball game playing on the computer. It looks just like SportsCenter, she said. My first reaction was like, this can't be for me. I'm not into computers. But I really didn't have time to think about it because, of course, my mom was already in deep conversation with Mr. Petty. This really didn't look good for me. But looking back on it, I realized that my mom and dad did sometimes know best. Just sometimes. In the days following, I was hard at work at filling out applications, and it was during this process I realized this academy might actually be interesting. It could teach me some things I could use in the real world. I soon had an interview with Miss Ingram and Mr. Maldonado. After that, I ended up getting into the academy, and what a great opportunity that turned out to be. But first, there was this initial obstacle. I had to take a TED class. A class, it was called Technology, Engineering, and Design. No offense to the Engineering Academy at all, but engineering and I go along like oil and water. Most of us in the Academy also remember the oh-so-beloved Microsoft Word and PowerPoint class that Mr. Williams brought up. Mr. Williams also really made that year better with his English class. His energy and love for teaching was contagious and made that class so much fun. Sophomore year, we really started digital media with Mr. Petty. Walking in, I was thinking this might be a chill, laid-back class, but I was wrong. We jumped right into making a sandwich in Photoshop. Needless to say, I wouldn't have eaten that first sandwich, but it ended up being a project I was proud of, and my interest in digital media grew from there. We did some more projects, and I ended up falling in love with the concept of being able to create something digitally. I realized that people were right when they said that Photoshop and Illustrator was really fun. We all probably have a good story to share with Mr. Petty. One of mine was the magazine project that he had a field day with critiquing. Pronouncing it real bad, dude, and I thought it was some of my best work to date. That was the first time I remember meeting some real challenges and had to completely redo the project. But I rose to the challenge with Mr. Petty's instructions and the finished product turned out really well. One of my favorite parts about my sophomore year was definitely meeting Ms. De Silva. I never had a dull moment in her class, and that year I really enjoyed how energetic her class was. Junior year was even better. Mr. Petty's projects became more difficult, yet more fun that year, and I have to say, one of the best parts was watching Petty and Dylan fight for days on end on the menu project. One of my Academy highlights was the Order in the Heart production that we did in Ms. De Silva's class. From seeing Danny dressed up in that police officer outfit to the magnificent display that we had for a courtroom look. It was truly one of my prouder moments to be in the Academy. Then senior year came along and I met Mr. Maldonado and was really excited to be in his class because it allowed me to choose a project that inspired me and of course to go back to Mr. Williams' classroom once again. That first semester we started working on our senior projects after all the ridiculously creepy futuristic books like 1984 and Brave New World. I worked on the peer networks group for my senior project and I was extremely proud of our outcome. I cannot wait to see what the Eco Let's Go group has in store for us. These last 4 years have been life-changing for me. I have seen some amazing things happen with incredible people surrounding me. Whether it's Skylar, Cassidy, Hannah, Regina, Lily, and Heather, working on graphics or tirelessly on a Skills USA pen. Dakota, a brave one who's amazing in website. And David, outstanding in audio. Jackson, Eric, Ethan, Dylan, and I working on videos to make projects come to life. And Cassie, Shay, Danny, and Sarah going to the broadcast room over down Maldonado's room. And of course, Craig and Evan for bringing some amazing humor and pieces of work to our class. And Ymir, outstanding and makes incredible edits. I'm so proud to be a part of this extraordinary group that has left their mark on Middle Creek and will continue to leave their mark on the entire world. To my teachers, Mr. Williams, thank you for being an amazing teacher and someone who is trustworthy and encouraging. Ms. De Silva, thank you for pouring so much energy into the classroom and giving great perspectives and helping us understand different types of literature. Ms. Council, although I never had you as a teacher, I wish I did. Thank you for always being upbeat and passionate, and I don't know if I've ever seen you without a smile and a Chick-fil-A cup. Mr. Maldonado, I don't think I've ever seen someone so passionate about digital media. From all the cool equipment you have and the wonderful advice that you give us, you have helped each and every one of us to the next level. Mr. Petty, thank you for being one of my best friends in high school. Whether it was talking about sports or anything, you are one of the best teachers I ever had. Between the three of you, the digital media teachers, I can promise you they have more Chick-fil-A app points than any of you in this room. I want you all to know you deserve the utmost respect and gratitude. I've watched you stay until all hours of the night to help us, whether it's setting up a presentation, sports block, at Skills USA. All of you work extremely hard, and that will serve as an example to me and all of us. To my class, the advantage that this academy has given us is incredible. Whether it's the Adobe Suite software, presentation skills, and our internships, we have truly been given the best tools and an advantage over many in the digital field. I encourage all of you in the coming years to go out and don't be afraid to show your work. Be proud and passionate about what you do and never forget your time here at Middle Creek. Whether it was classroom discussions in Ms. De Silva's, slamming the bell in Mr. Petty's class to get a couple extra points, arguing for hours on end what the name of our project was going to be, all the field trips, Skills USA, Sports Block, and all the times we spent together, I will always cherish my time with you, and I couldn't have made it through high school without your friendship and support. I'd like to leave you with two quotes. One you may have seen before in Mr. Petty's classroom, but it says, "Praise makes you feel good, critique makes you better." I think we've all been on the critique side of this statement, but always remember that in the real world, it is to make yourself better at what you do, a path to success. And second, from J.K. Rowling, we do not need magic to change the world. We carry all the power we need inside ourselves already. We have the power to imagine better. As a student of this academy, we have truly been equipped with some amazing things. I encourage everyone to take advantage of that and go out and imagine better and change the world. I truly believe there's never been a better group to do it than the ones in this room. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Kabaki. I teach the EDA class, chemistry. This group of kids was my first group being part of the EDA, and I have to say they did indeed spoil me. I thought all of my chemistry classes should be as bright and as energetic and excited about learning as they were. They are not. But that is all right. So what does it mean to be successful? In his book Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell suggests to be successful you must put in at least 10 hours of practice. Over the last 12 years, spending about 6 hours a day for 180 days in the school year, you have put in well over 12,000 hours practicing to be a student. That doesn't even count all the homework, academic camps, and internships you did. In that time, you have learned things such as how to read, and then how to analyze what you have read. How to count, then to add, multiply, and for some, how to find the derivative. How to describe the world around you, to balancing chemical equations, solving stoichiometry problems, or calculating acceleration. All of these hours you are, after all of these hours, you are now a successful student. You know how to work hard. You know how to get your work done on time. You know how to work well with others. Now that you have become a successful high school student, the question is, what will be your next success? What will you invest your next 10,000 hours doing? No matter what you choose, make sure that you love it and that it challenges you. Keep in mind that with all great successes, there were many more failures. Thomas Edison said, "I haven't failed, I just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Just as Thomas Edison did, you too will have to find the 10,000 ways that don't work in order to find the one that does. There are so many possibilities. Enjoy the journey. Winston Churchill said, "Success is the ability to go from one failure to another with no loss of enthusiasm." I leave you with this. Don't be discouraged by your failures. Learn from them, and you will be successful in all you do. Good luck, and I know you will all continue to be leading galloping Mustangs.
As you probably can tell, I am not Mr. Eric Shedding. He actually is home today with his expecting wife. So I have the privilege to introduce our Engineering and Design Academy student speaker. I didn't have a chance to prepare anything for this because I stepped in at the last moment, and it's probably a really good thing. Because if I had time to write something, I'm pretty sure it'd be 15 pages long, and I'd be crying the entire time. This student has been such an inspiration to me as a teacher. She's made me want to become a better teacher, more knowledgeable about my content, know my students better, become someone that they can look up to as well. She came into my classroom during the drafting class, drafting 2 in her junior year, and I've never heard so many giggles from the back of my classroom than that year in junior drafting 1. She always makes me smile. She always puts her best foot forward in her projects, in her life, in her friendships, and she truly is one of those students that you only get once in a lifetime. I've made it a promise to myself to become friends with her parents, to emulate them so that my daughter can be just like her. Please welcome to the stage, Riley Harrison.
Thank you, Mrs. Council. Good evening. My name is Riley Harrison, and I am graduating from the Engineering and Design Academy. Over the past 4 years, I've had the privilege of working alongside many talented and like-minded peers as well as multiple dedicated teachers who have constantly challenged and pushed me to be creative, innovative, and excited about my work in the classroom. I've had the opportunity to earn multiple certifications in the Autodesk applications, and more importantly, gain hands-on experience that has not only prepared me for entrance into the professional world, but has allowed my passion for engineering to grow to a completely new level. In an academy surrounded by teachers who are all NC State graduates, or almost all NC State graduates, it was never easy being a UNC fan. I always enjoyed coming in early the day after a rival basketball game, wearing my Carolina blue shirt and a huge smirk on my face. But I think all of them will be excited to hear, and as you can see on the screen, that I have plans to attend North Carolina State University this fall to study biomedical engineering. The Academy has nurtured my love for problem solving and teamwork and helped me identify how I can apply engineering to help people. This summer, I had the privilege to intern with research scientists and industry professionals at NC State, UNC Chapel Hill, and Polyzen, a medical device company in Apex. It was with my experiences this summer that I recognized my true desire to pursue biomedical engineering. As I conducted experiments and worked with experienced engineers to develop innovative products, I gained a new appreciation for the work being done to improve the quality of patient lives. I find it exciting to see how engineering and medicine come together to take advantage of new technology to change people's lives for the better, and I am forever grateful that my experiences in the Academy prepared me to take on such opportunities. My involvement in the Academy also led me to discover Skills USA, a nationally recognized career and technical student organization. I completely underestimated the effect that Skills USA would have on my life. As a junior, I participated in a competition for engineering, technology, and design, along with two other incredible Academy members, Caleb Jolly, who is also graduating today, and Emily Berg, who is a sophomore. Our team of three designed a home product that solved a water leakage problem. And while that explanation makes it sound like such a quick and simple thing to develop, the process of brainstorming, researching, prototyping, and then making a never-ending amount of adjustments was quite testing. But the excitement of hearing your team's name announced as the first place winner in the state after months of hard work was so rewarding. After placing first in the state, we moved on to compete at the national level in Louisville, Kentucky, where thousands of high school and college students gathered to fight for one gold medal. I realized quickly at the national competition that it was an opportunity to learn new things as we shared our innovations with peers and industry professionals. My views were expanded as I was challenged to see things from different angles, and I was empowered in ways that I could not imagine. And in addition to all of that, our team got to experience the fun city life of staying in downtown Louisville for a week. However, our competition was no joke. We stayed at the competition site from 8 to 5, multiple days, completing more hands-on projects and presenting our invention to multiple sets of judges. It wasn't easy. I'll never forget the night before our competition when our team practiced and practiced and practiced our presentation. We stayed up until 2 a.m. that night as Mr. Petty and Mrs. Council critiqued our every single move. To say that we were all delirious is definitely an understatement. But thanks to that practice, we nailed our presentation the next day. We ended up placing fourth at the national level, something that I'm extremely proud of. However, knowing that we missed the top 3 in the nation by 1 spot was tough. And the weeks to follow, we found out that we lost by literally fractions of a single point. That was extremely hard to swallow. Our team is very competitive, and we all wanted that national medal. So we decided to come back, better and stronger than ever, if I do say so myself, to compete again in Skills USA this year in chapter display with the ultimate goal of getting back to nationals. We worked many afternoons and weekends to construct an interactive 6-foot-tall racetrack display, and just like the engineering competition last year, the process was at times very frustrating and overwhelming. For example, a week before our project was due, a bird pooped on our display as its paint dried in the garage. In the garage, it was covered. I don't know how it happened. I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, the universe is actually against us. But we persevered and just recently earned first place in the state again. Our goal was accomplished, and we look forward to competing at the national level in Louisville, Kentucky again this summer. My high school experience would be so incredibly different without the welcoming environment of the Academy. I would like to thank my fellow classmates who made all of our engineering classes and field trips so much fun. From building prosthetic hands and gliders to the painful details of lettering, to criticizing Mr. Sheddick about his shoelaces, or complimenting Mr. Green on his super good sense of fashion, and to our much-awaited senior trip to Orlando this fall, the memories that we've made throughout our time together are things that I will never forget. And I would also like to thank all of the Academy teachers and advisors for their instrumental role in shaping me and all of us into young professionals. Thank you, Mrs. Ingram, for giving me the chance to be in the Academy, and for organizing several field trips over the past 3 years that allowed us to learn about each field of engineering. Thank you, Mr. Sheddick, I know he's not here, but for being the first teacher I met at Middle Creek, for always pushing me to find ways to improve my work, and for letting me print things on your 3D printer, and for also teaching your class about the true purpose of insurance. I don't know if she's here today, but thank you, Mrs. McGee, for teaching us the ins and outs and many frustrations of Autodesk Inventor, making all of our class projects into competitions, and for occasionally calling me by my sister's name. Thank you, Mr. Petty and Mr. Maldonado, for not accepting anything less than perfect for any of my presentations, and for pushing me to excel in Skills USA. Your guys' dedication and persistence is inspiring. Thank you, Mr. Taylor, for teaching us that when in doubt, use an Instructable. We hope you find success at Green Level next year. Thank you, Mr. Green, for jumping in head first into this amazing program, for being so open to our class's joking nature, and for being a teacher that I can come talk to about anything. And a huge, huge, huge thank you to Mrs. Council for being a crazy awesome role model to me, believing in me when I felt like giving up, writing countless recommendation letters, helping me obtain an internship at Polyzen, and for always egging me on when I get goofy. All of you guys have made a huge impact on my life, more than you will ever know. I can confidently say that I believe every single one of us is armed with the personal and technical skills to truly make a difference in this world. I wish my fellow graduates good luck as they too embark on this new adventure in their lives, and hope that none of us forget the Academy community that has grown us into powerful individuals and developing professionals. I've been so blessed to be a part of such an amazing group of students and advisors, but more importantly, I've been so blessed to be a part of such a great family at Middle Creek High School. As we all go our different ways, never forget that success comes with hard work. Give nothing but your best, live with no regrets, take advantage of new opportunities, and learn from your mistakes. I have no doubt that you all will do amazing things. Thank you.
Now I have to talk after she makes me cry. Tonight we have the honor of hearing from a principal architect from O'Brien Atkins, which is an architecture firm in RTP. Stephen Harris is the NC State graduate with 2 bachelor degrees in architecture and environmental design in architecture. He is a LEED accredited professional and a member of the American Institute of Architects. He has worked on several projects you may be familiar with, including the Nature Research Center at the NC Museum of Natural Sciences in downtown Raleigh. He has also taught several courses at the College of Design at NC State University. Please welcome to the stage Principal and Registered Architect Stephen Harris.
Thank you. Christina didn't mention that I was her brother, so, because it's not written here. But thank you. It's not too long ago that I was in the same spot, not at this school, but it wasn't too many years ago. I grew up in this area, actually, and I went to middle school and elementary school at Westlake. So I would have gone here if this high school was built. And so I went to NC State, and that's a lot of you are going there, it sounds like, and that's a good school. I've spent, from my college years, I went straight into O'Brien Atkins, architecture firm at RTP. 45 years of great work that firm has produced and I've been able to take part of. And they've had very impactful projects throughout the region, including the airport and the convention center that some folks might know. And that experience I want to talk a little bit about, but I'm going to start kind of with a message here that a lot of you have already talked about, and I'm going to reinforce a little bit. So I think the first thing that I want to recommend to everybody from this point forward is that you go out into the world and fail. And I know that's a little shocking, the way to start off this presentation. It will get a little bit better here. And I've got an image here of one of my favorites, construction photographs of things that have gone wrong. And I hope that you don't fail this badly and misalign your bridge. But failure is really key to defining who we are and how we address things. I want to talk a little bit more about that. And that really you have to take those failures and keep moving forward to find later success. And what made me kind of think about this concept is I could give you many quotes from many famous people, but I like Disney movies. And one of my favorite ones is one that I watch with my kids. It's Meet the Robinsons, and I hope that most of you have seen this. It's a movie based on Walt Disney's philosophies. And it's got a main character, Lewis, who's a kid, who's an inventor. And he keeps trying to invent, and he keeps failing. And there's a quote in that movie that I've always thought about as I teach my kids what I want them to understand as they go through their education and eventually their career, is that from failure you learn, and from success, not so much. And I think failure is a term that's kind of harsh and has a negative connotation, because really, you take failure and it's really challenges. And because every failure is really just an unrealized challenge that has not been solved yet. And if I look through my career to this point, it's basically been a series of challenges which at some point was daunting, seemed not something I could solve, but I broke it up into little steps and little problems that I could solve and then I did solve. And so, and I've already heard that from several speakers already today, and I think this academy, through project-based education, really reinforces that, and that's something that I hope that you continue to go through your education and take into your career. So I want to talk a little bit about my story. I think it's important for folks to understand others that have gone through what you have and see what you can learn from that. So when I graduated in 2008 from NC State, the Great Recession had just started. When we went out of school, there was 30 people in my class from the architecture school at NC State, and we all had internships right out of school. In 1 year's time, only 25% of us would be working in the industry in which we graduated, right? So, as we all know, it was a very trying time for a lot of folks. And I was actually one of the lucky ones, and I actually kept my position in an architecture firm. My wife, who's also an architect, we met in school, she did not have the same luck that I did, and she jumped around. And she sometimes felt like she was a failure, because you go to school, you understand that typically there's a job waiting for you. And there wasn't. But she bounced around, and from going from a job at Home Depot, working as a cashier during that time, eventually she got a cabinet designing shop at Home Depot, moved into working with Red Hat as a facilities manager, and then eventually got back into architecture. And I'm very proud of her for that journey and the viewpoints that she got from that journey. And it's something that, again, you reinforce that idea of she thought she was a failure, but really it was just a set of challenges that defined who she is and defined her perseverance. Another quote I'm going to put up here from Steve Jobs is the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And I feel so very strong about this because when I went to go train as an architect at NC State, the first thing they tell you in your first class is, and he put up a slide that says, architects do not make a lot of money. You start there. And you have to love what you do. You have to love to make and design and work in construction. And so, and I do. And I take that every day. And I think I see a lot of folks that have found a love for doing something and that you are going to pursue in your college career and your professional career. And I think that's great. And I'm not going to say every day that when you get out of high school is not going to be, you're going to have stressful days, you're going to have challenges. But in the end, when you go to sleep every night, you're going to have to ask yourself, do I enjoy what I'm doing? And if the answer is yes, then that's great. But if the answer is no, you can always change your pathway. And a lot of careers are not linear. And I think that goes back to when I was talking about the recession. A lot of folks that I know, a lot of my peers, did not have linear pathways. But today, a lot of them have taken pathways that are giving them new horizons, new viewpoints, and they've found new opportunities for themselves. A lot of them have started their own business. And that's something that's, that's an opportunity that more people have in this generation than I think have ever had. I want to talk about a few people that I've been reading about lately that have really inspired me. I've been exposed to two individuals. One you probably know a lot about in the last few weeks is Katie Bauman. And Katie Bauman, if you haven't read the articles, she led a team that has photographed the first black hole ever. And very interesting approach to read about how she's done it. She has worked not necessarily on the telescopes that take the picture, but she was working on the programming side on an algorithm that had a predictive image technology, which she used on just typical photographs of people's faces or out in the city to take a few data points from those pictures and interpolate what the rest of the picture would look like. And it took years for her to develop with a large team that supported her to validate that algorithm. And once they had that algorithm validated, they took several telescopes all across the globe to take different pictures as it orbited of this black hole to give a set of data points that her algorithm then took and interpolated and created this first image of the black hole. And she's in her 20s. So this is you guys in a few years. And, it's not like she spent 20 years on this. She had a passion for this. And she took it and with a group of people and our colleagues have done this great thing for humanity. Very unique, very exciting. And another person that's kind of at a different spectrum that I recently heard speak at a Boy Scout of America event, Eva Shockey. She is a wildlife conservationist and hunter. And that is her passion, and that is her career. She gets a lot of criticism, and actually she gets a lot of deference because she is a hunter. And I listened to her speak, and I didn't really know a lot about her movement, but she takes the viewpoint that hunting is actually a more humane way of procuring meat, as opposed to the mass-produced way that we do it now. And when you kind of look at it that vantage point, you say that that's kind of interesting, and that's a different way of looking at it. And she's an advocate for hunters. And when you heard her speak, you said, okay, this is a woman that's very passionate, and she has turned this into a career. And so when I look at these two individuals, I kind of see that the nonlinear pathway to career, or a career that is available now for everyone. You don't have to go down, what I would say a traditional path of becoming necessarily an architect, a doctor. You basically take any combination of passion that you have, and there's a profession for you. Because as long as you're hardworking and you have a dream and a goal, there is someone who's interested in that, and it's productive for society. So I see a lot of young individuals that have passion, and I would encourage you to not always think of the constraint of a linear or typical profession. Always look at opportunities that are out there for something that you can pursue your unique interest. And that opportunity, I believe, especially in our generation or this generation, technology allows us to do that. So I'm going to start back with go back to my start, where I was kind of in your seat. And I was in high school, and I took a drafting class where we learned AutoCAD and 3D Studio Max. And it seems like a lot of you actually know what you want to do. I really did not know what I wanted to do. So one day, I went up to my teacher and I said, what professions use these tools? I really didn't know. And I was told either an engineer or an architect. And I said, great, architect, that sounds good. I'll do that. And so I applied to the NC State School of Design. And if I didn't get in, I wasn't really going to sweat it too much because I really didn't, have a strong passion one way or the other. I would have probably gone into engineering or something else. But I did. I got in, and it was a life change for me. The typical path for most people that got into the architecture school was that they were more a creative personality. A lot of them had taken several art classes. And they asked similar questions as I did, is what professions, can I use my creative skills? And architect was one of the list, and so they decided they'd pursue it. I came with more of a technical-minded individual. I was more about problem solving. I liked science. I liked mathematics. I had not really taken any art classes. And that put me in a group that I was not familiar with. And I want to talk about a different viewpoint and how it really changed who I was. And that viewpoint was that of being a designer and being creative. And I didn't understand it. And honestly, in college, I struggled. And in my first year, that was my first year professor, Chandra Cox. She was an art designer. She is an art design professor. And in that class, I was the one behind the last one in the class to kind of do anything or understand anything. And I've got a story that's kind of funny, that we were doing figured ground studies. And basically, for those who don't know what that is, it's basically you have kind of a black canvas and you have something that's white, a form. In this case, we were assigned a certain letter of the alphabet that we had to put on that and create a form that we would explain how it had a meaning in our life. And I really didn't understand what the assignment was. And so we get it, and we do it, and we get up and do our projects. We present them, and we get our critique done. And the individual in front of me, he does this figured ground study, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but it related to how his mother had passed away, and how he remembered her, and the support and love that she brought. And so I followed that up with, I had the letter V, and I put it on my figured ground study. And I said, it looked a lot like Pac-Man, and I like Pac-Man. And Chandra, she rolled her eyes, and that's kind of how my whole semester went. As I tried to understand, designing and putting meaning behind what I did. So, in design school, and I kind of expect to maybe kind of explain this a little bit more, but I don't think I do, because based on the comments I've heard, I think this academy really prepares you for these kind of environments, because it's a small, close-knit, small group of people about 30 people, in each class that are together and they work together collaboratively to do projects. And you spend 4 years together, or in some cases more. And so it becomes almost like a second family. And grinding it out is a very important concept because, as a lot of you said, the hard work is really the key to this all. In the design school, you spend a lot of time, a lot of hours in studio. You have your 9 hours per week that are kind of the academic hours, but you're pretty much there all day, every day, and all night. You spend a lot of all-nighters there. There's actually a few couches there in which you sleep, which are quite disgusting, honestly, after everyone sleeps on them. But that is some of the fondest memories that I've had my whole life, is that group of people. And so a lot of you are going to go out into college cultures that are a lot like that. And I think that you've had that culture now. And I think that just remembering that hard work and working together is really key as you go forward. But the one thing I wanted to remind you, because a lot of you seem like you're hard workers, is don't forget to live life. This is a picture of me and my wife, my future wife. And this was during my junior year. We were working late one night. I believe it was like 1 a.m. And I told one of my friends to go up there that something was going to happen. I told her to hide behind a box with a camera. And we go up there and I say, there's an exhibit over here that the art design students did, and I really want you to take a look at it. And of course we go up there and there's nothing except for this little speck in the wall. And let's see, I can't see that. Okay, there it is, you see it. The one speck in the wall was a ring. And so I proposed to my wife, and we've been married now 10 years. And so in all your work, in all your hard work, in your pursuit of your career, just a reminder, don't forget to live life. Enjoy every aspect. And don't always focus on your career. Focus on other elements as well. Kind of going back to failure is criticism and struggle. And I talked a little bit about that. It took me a long time in school to get it. And I think it took me about until my 5th year to understand it. And it looks like you guys are all familiar with crits, putting a project in front of a bunch of people and basically hearing what they have to say. And those comments they give you, you have to be able to take those in a positive way, because the comments that are given are to improve you. You cannot take them to heart. You have to say, those comments I just need to incorporate and improve from. It's a learning opportunity. I would say some folks in my class did not understand that, but a lot of us did. And just remember that criticism is a good thing. Criticism is a way to learn. It's a way that we improve. And so that's one of the mechanisms that the College of Design uses to teach us. And it's because when you go out into your career, there will always be critics of your work. But can you defend it? Are you passionate enough about what you've done so that you can take it and defend every aspect of it because you believe in it? And that's very important. Because if you do, you will make believers of those critics. For me, throughout school, learning the design process, which is what the design school focuses on, not so much the technical aspect of what softwares or how you build things. They really focus on how you design things. For me, that was my struggle. I focused on, I wanted to know how to build things. I really spent my time independently studying how buildings went together, not necessarily how to design them. And with that focus, sometimes I lost sight of the bigger picture. Then I was exposed to a software called Autodesk Revit, and this was my junior year. And it basically connected with me in a way that the process at school didn't necessarily. I got to see how a building was put together virtually, like Lego pieces. And when I started to do that, and I started to get past my understanding of how a building was constructed, I could actually go back and take all the lessons that I learned about design and put them together. And then at that point, I started to feel like a complete architect. And when I did that, I had to self-teach myself. And I think a lot of times you'll find opportunities for yourself where you have to teach yourself something. There might not always be a class. And I would encourage you, if you find something you're passionate about, do that. When I took that, and this was towards the end of my education, I took that knowledge and I applied it to my first internship, and it's actually at O'Brien. It's the firm that I am working at now. I became quickly a leader in the firm because I brought a tool that everyone was interested in, but no one really knew how to use. And my first project, the Nature Research Center that you may have seen in downtown Raleigh, I was the one responsible for figuring out the design of a lot of it because I knew the tool that we were using. And while I was doing that, I was not only figuring out a lot of the details of this project, I was teaching my fellow colleagues who had 10, 15 years of experience how to do this. And it was a back and forth. They were teaching me how to become an architect, and I was teaching them this tool. And I think the result was a very interesting project. This one is if you're familiar with it, a LEED Platinum project, which is pretty much the highest sustainability green project that you can do. It has everything from solar panels, hot water collectors, daylighting. I could go on and on, but it's a very defining project for the state of North Carolina. And that was a very unique experience for me, and it kind of propelled me forward. I'm going to go through one more project here that was very defining. This is my second project, and this is where I really felt like I started to hit my stride in understanding what it was to become an architect and design and work together with my fellow colleagues to create something great. So, like I said in the beginning, going back to my first story, of understanding the figured ground and actually putting together a form and having a story behind it, this building, we started with an inspiration, a story. And the program for this building was a server building that had 26 megawatts of power usage. And for those who don't know what that is, that's the equivalent power usage of 26,000 homes, all right? And that's just the servers that are used to operate it. So the biggest challenge with a building that is all servers is heat. It generates a ton of heat. And so on top of all that energy to run the computers, you have to put a ton of energy into cooling those computers so they run efficiently. And the typical way of doing that is to put very high-end HVAC systems. And you have a lot of cooling towers, and a lot of power usage goes into that. We took a different approach. We looked at a historical building type, which was a tobacco barn. And we looked at what it did, and we took it and related it to what we could do in the server building. A tobacco barn really is a simple form that basically has a roof that protects it from the elements. It has some openings in that roof that allows for ventilations to dry the tobacco. And it has solar collection, which allows for the heating also that dries out the tobacco. We apply those same elements to this building. Instead of basically having a fully mechanical, a lot of fans, a lot of cooling towers running it, we had basically a completely open second floor of this building that breathed. You can kind of see it here in this image. That could be closed off during really hot days of the summer and also maybe during bad storms, but otherwise it was completely open and could get natural ventilation through to cool all these servers. And this saved a ton of money for this project. It was a very unique project as far as the prototype that is a server building. And we actually ended up winning a design award for this creative solution to a building that hasn't been around for a whole lot, but it was causing some energy problems for everybody. And that one was very rewarding. And that one I really felt like, okay, I get it now. I get design, I get putting a story behind what you do, finding inspiration in your designs. And so that's one of the things as I will ask you guys to do is in everything that you do, if you can find inspiration in it, it makes it a lot easier to figure out the end goal, to figure out something that has meaning. One more thing that I don't want to escape everybody is that working is something that involves a lot of people. And this is an organizational chart of what an architect does. I'm really, if I describe myself, I'm a jack of all trades, but really a master of none. I've got a team of usually, on average, 20 people that I'm working with that are experts in all the different parts of the building that I consult with and have to get their feedback. And what that really means is, while I'm coming up with the basic concept of the building, the kind of the beginning, I rely on so many people to achieve what I achieve every day. And I think every profession is that way. You have several people that you have to rely on. And don't forget that. Don't ever try to put it all on your shoulders. If you do, I don't think you're going to be as successful as you would if you all work together as a team. And I think I've heard in some of the speeches here today that this academy, I think, emphasizes that. I think that's great. And keep that attitude going forward as you hit college and also into your professional career. I will say, though, sometimes that if that's the organizational chart, this is what I feel like. I feel like the dog trainer here. That you do have to, when you work with folks and you are a leader, which inherently an architect is of a lot of projects, you have to direct everyone. And a lot of people want to go in different directions. And I heard some great things from the speakers today, and I know that a lot of you will become leaders for your profession to be taken. And just know that even though that is sometimes a stressful proposition, that it is something that you have to deal with, and that you have to deal with each individual, and sometimes you have to be a psychologist sometimes, and figure out what people need. And don't forget that. Don't forget that you are working with people, and they have feelings, and that you should treat them like you would want to be treated. And as I conclude my talk today, I want to remind everybody at that same point one more time, is that it's all about support. And this picture is all the people in my firm that support me, and I support them every day. And it's a very important dynamic that we have, and that's how we're successful. And I want everyone here, because you have a support group that's in this room today, which includes your parents, your friends and colleagues, and your teachers that have helped you today. And I want to give one last round of applause for everybody here. That is very. And thank you very much. I appreciate you letting me speak today. And that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you, Stephen. And now for the presentation of the graduates, the thing that y'all are super excited about. Graduates, please stand. We'll start by recognizing our graduates from the Digital Media Academy class of 2019. As I call your name, please come across the stage to receive your certificate. Cassie Beam. Skylar Boyd. Heather Byron. Cassidy Chiansky. Lily Choplin. Jackson Chop. Dylan Clinton.
Hunter Holmes. Regina Huerta Palmero. Yamir Johnson. Hannah Kelly. Eric Krug. Anna Leonard. Dakota Leonard. David Mazariegos. Craig Rainier. Evan Rainier. Adam Schmidt. Ethan Schwinn. Daniel Smith. Alexander Tondor. Shaylin Williams. Sarah Zacharias. And now we will recognize our graduates from the Engineering and Design Academy class of 2019. Jake Adamson. Braden Benkiel Robinson. Matthew Boylan. Luke Briggs. Kevin Brown. Owen Connaughton. Nicholas Ferguson. Riley Harrison. Nicholas Howe. Paris Hunt. Caleb Jolly. Talia Jones. Gabriel Milburn. Caleb Murray. Joshua Murray. Graham Pajak. Aiden Patterson. Garrett Raker. Jared Von Shali. Mason Welch. Ladies and gentlemen, the Middle Creek class of 2019.
Good evening and welcome to all. It gives me great pleasure to speak to everyone this evening and close out this amazing event for these unbelievable students. I do want to take a moment, and I know that lots of folks have already thanked and recognized the amazing staff that we have that support this program. But if I could get them to stand one last time and give them a round of applause, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to go off script for 1 second, and a lot of people ask me pretty regularly about different programs and events that we have at the school, and they just continue to say, how do you guys continue to get better and better? What are you doing as the leader of this organization to make that happen? And I try to tell them that the secret to success with this program is hire good people, give them the resources that they need. Now they will ask, this group right here will ask for more than we could ever give them. And they do that so that they can put those tools and resources in the hands of these amazing students to see the amazing things they can produce. And that's how I lead this group. I try to stay out of their way and give them the support and resources they need, because it's unbelievable what they're able to accomplish with these students. So again, congratulations to all of these staff members and I couldn't have said any more eloquently the thank you and the recognition that you've heard this evening from the students. So in closing, I'm much like all of our previous speakers, I love to always weave in an appropriate quote. And for me, one that stands out is, it's a quote by Abraham Lincoln and Peter Drucker have been connected to it, and it says, the best way to predict your future is to create it. And I think we would all agree that this group of students has certainly taken this quote to heart. The commitment, the dedication, the passion that they have found to help reach their goals has driven these students to this day, to this graduation, to this honor. But I think we all know that it's going to continue to drive them down whatever path they have set out for themselves in creating the kind of future that they want. So Middle Creek High School could not be prouder of all that they've accomplished and all that they will accomplish as they continue to follow their passions in the field of either engineering or digital media. So Academy graduates, we wish you all the best, and just continue to be in awe of what you've accomplished at Middle Creek. Thank you. So I am on my official page, and they left me one line that I'm required to share, and that is, following this awesome ceremony that has been put together by the staff, please join us for a short reception with light refreshments in the common. And if everyone could please rise for the recessional.